So there are some changes that have come about now as far as our flagging goes too. So I definitely want to point those out. It is a very important job, and the flagger is protecting the lives of everybody on the crew. So we want the flaggers to, they don't have to stand perfectly straight facing oncoming traffic. Usually they're going to be kind of, halfway turned so that they can see oncoming traffic, but also see what's coming from the other direction. And we don't want the flaggers out in the lane. Flaggers' normal station is on the shoulder of the road. Okay, so on page 6K 111, the first page essentially in this flagging handbook, I've underlined a couple of the things that we've added. Flaggers, all flaggers now are required to wear high-vis pants. It used to be just a MnDOT requirement. It is now for anybody out there flagging. It doesn't matter if it's a local agency or a private company. So all flaggers are required to wear these Class E pants. And then the other two ones that I've highlighted or underlined here, a retro-reflective hat in the above colors is also required. And let's see, retro-reflective wristband is a good idea too. So the more visible, the better. Okay, towards the bottom of that page, some of the information that we've added. Two-way communication devices should be used for multiple flagger operations. It used to say radios, but there are other methods to communicate. So we changed that language. The second bullet point that's circled there, the 24-inch red flag, that should be used anytime you're flagging at an intersection with stop signs, because having a stop paddle as well as stop signs out there can be confusing to motorists. So we've changed that. And a flashlight with a red glow cone can also be used at night, intersections, and in emergency situations. On page 112, one of the things that we've highlighted is that we say it a couple of times throughout the flagging handbook here. Note number 4, bullet point number 4, always have an escape route. Now, people who do a lot of flagging, they know that they have to have that escape route, but we want to just remind people, think about where you're going to go when some car comes at you or truck comes at you. You got to have an escape route. We do show the decision sight distance again on this page, and we have it up. We have it on our distance charts as well. We want people to make sure that that flagging station is in a highly visible location. Okay, I've shown this picture before, but we want to make sure that all signing is in place before the flaggers go out. And this crash occurred in Chaska about 10 years ago where the flagger, a worker, picked up a stop paddle to allow one piece of equipment to cross that highway, and there was no advanced signing indicating that a flagger was going to be there. And the first vehicle that saw what was going on did stop. That red truck, didn't know why somebody had stopped in the lane and went around and hit that man and killed him. And you can see the indent that his body made, and you can see the way that that stop paddle staff is bent, exactly matching the grill of that truck. So all signing has to be in place, and communication should be clear before any flaggers go out there. Okay, on page 115, that first paragraph up at the top, we want flaggers to be aware of long queuing. If we're stopping long queues of vehicles and they're going to be going into other intersections, we could be causing some real problems. So make sure you know what's going on as a flagger and take a look, and if there is long queuing, you might have to make some adjustments. And then down at the bottom of this slide here where it says 2 flaggers, This is now a shall condition. If you have more than one flagger out there, one of those shall be in charge and coordinating all the activities. So you got 2 flaggers or more, one has to be in charge. Okay. Also on 115, intersection flagging. Here we talk about using the red flag. If it's a signalized intersection, the very best thing you can do is turn that those signals to all red flash, and then you can flag through that intersection. But only a uniformed law enforcement officer can actually tell traffic to stop on green or go on red. And again, the last bullet point that's on this slide, flaggers should be aware of traffic conditions at adjacent intersections and coordinate operations to minimize backups and conflicts. Okay. So under 117, they're talking about flagging procedures. Let's see. This is important. I can't tell you how many times I both see flaggers or talk to flaggers in classes where they say, oh no, they're not going to see me if I'm on the shoulder. I need to stand out in the lane. That is not the case. Get yourself a whistle or an air horn. We want flaggers on the shoulder. Too many distracted drivers are out there right now. So you're not safe if you're out in the lane. Flaggers have to face traffic and should be making eye contact with the drivers. Should never stand in the traffic lane unless, like they showed in the video, unless that first vehicle that stopped is a large truck or something, might need to come out towards center line, be aware of what's coming from the other direction, and keep eye contact, because you start moving that stop paddle a little bit and they think they can go. So keep eye contact and keep that stop hand up. And don't cross center line once you're sure that everybody coming from behind that truck sees that you're a flagger out there and you have traffic stop. Get back to the shoulder as soon as possible. Okay, on page 118, proper conduct. Now, flaggers might have to talk to a motorist, and they'll be curious, maybe want to know how long you're going to be stopped, or might have other questions, and that's perfectly fine to talk to the motorist. Don't put yourself in danger. The second bullet point. You don't know what kind of crazies are out there. There was an incident at one of our local agencies, and somebody blew this guy's stop paddle, and the flagger was able to get a hold of law enforcement. They chased that car down, or that truck down, and it turned out it was a mobile meth lab, and they had all kinds of guns in there too. So don't put yourself in danger. If somebody becomes confrontational, just step away from it. Don't leave your post, but just be careful. Let's see, what else? On page 120, we just have we have some actual photos now showing how to stop, slow, and release traffic. And we show the nighttime operations as well, with that red glow cone on the end of the flashlight. And on 121, we have this checklist for flaggers, something that flaggers should be taking a look at. So the second bullet point, never fully turn your back to traffic or stand in the path of moving traffic. And down here in this section, the fourth bullet point, plan your escape route. If a vehicle's going to come at you, where are you going to go? And think about, do you have an escape route? Is there guardrail? Is there a steep embankment? Are you going to have an escape route? You might need to change that flagging location. And then the second to the last bullet point, review the decision sight distance chart, and that the last sentence here, well, the last two sentences, this means you, as a flagger, should be able to see vehicles at the decision sight distance. So flaggers need to be responsible, make sure that they're in a safe location and they can see vehicles coming from that decision sight distance. 55 miles an hour is 1,200 feet. Okay, and it also mentions that emergency vehicles have priority rights. So if you have a queue of vehicles stopped and the other flagger has released traffic, and so you got a bunch of cars coming up this way, and all of a sudden a squad car with lights and siren come up, you gotta stop that squad and get on the radio, tell your coworker to stop traffic. I've got a police car here, emergency, trying to get through, and make sure they get that traffic stopped and flushed, and then you can allow the emergency vehicle to go through.
Tell that to them.
Pardon?
Tell that to them.
You tell that to the cops? Yeah, I know. They have guns, they can, but generally, you still need to stop them because you don't want to cause a head-on crash down behind you. So now, my experience is other emergency vehicles will stop, fire or ambulance, they'll stop, but yeah, the cops tend to go right through. Okay, just a couple of pictures. What's wrong with this flagging operation?
No flagging pans.
Standing on the yellow line.
Yeah, you're standing out in the lane, no high-vis pants. You do have high-vis hats on, I like that, but yeah, the guy in the background here, he should be up at the top of that crest of that hill, and this guy in the foreground should be up at the crest of this hill. But they didn't have radios, and they wanted to be in visual contact, so that's why they're standing out there. So it's so important to have good two-way communication. Anything wrong with this one?
Standing in the road.
He's standing out in the road.
No escape plans.
No escape route, right. That truck is right in his escape route.
That sign isn't high enough, is it?
Right, it's not. That's like a little 4-foot stop paddle. The sign, the stop paddle is required to be a minimum of 5 feet from the ground to the bottom of the sign.
Maybe 7 feet.
Maybe he is, but might be very, very tall, but I don't think so. Anything wrong here?
Nope. Quick break. Need a break.
Taking a break. Yeah, and you know what? Flagging can be a really boring job. I understand that, but still, you need to be standing and alert at all times, not sitting on the tailgate doing your homework or reading a novel.
Texting and flagging.
What's that?
Texting and flagging.
Texting and flagging.
Reading manuals.
Yeah, she has 3 phones there. She's kind of got the shoulder closed. Yeah. Co-worker told me a story. He and his wife were going out to dinner one evening late last summer, and it was kind of getting toward dusk, and they came upon a flagging operation, and he would not have seen that flagger because there was no illumination of any sort, other than the fact that he had his head down and he was texting, and the light from his phone was illuminating his face. It's the only reason he saw the flagger. So. Should not be texting.
Saved by texting.
Yeah, saved by texting, there's a purse. Okay, and this one. What's wrong?
Escape.
Standing out in traffic.
Yeah, he's standing out in traffic. There's a turn lane here. This is a left turn, or right turn lane. So where should he be standing?
Probably back by that light pole.
Yeah, way back here where that first light pole is, that's probably where that turn lane begins. But these guys didn't have radio communication either, so that's why he's standing out there. Okay, you guys have any questions?